Hey, how you guys doing? Yeah, so we're gonna be doing a modern multiple floor elevator. I don't know if it's actually called a multiple. I always called it a floor to floor elevator. I mean a normal elevator doesn't just go from one to the next, but hey, I've actually seen them before in real life. Okay, so I just need to test some stuff. Um, Test the comment system, which it's working. I mean, let's see. Test. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Okay. All right. Got that working. Got Minecraft working. So I can see the chat now. You guys can see what I'm seeing. And hopefully it doesn't sound like I'm screaming in your ear. I tried turning the volume down a little bit, but this microphone's super sensitive. All right, so we are back to the drawing board here. So yesterday, before I did the stream with my son, we were working on this. Um, yeah, it's kind of crazy. I actually noticed when I first load up a map, I'm getting a lot of frame rate, even though, I mean, it says I'm loading like 50 chunks. Where's my FPS at? Um, we're set at 32 chunks. Um, where's my frame rate? I don't even see it over there. I mean, I know it's there. Oh, there it is. It's at 78. It's weird that you shouldn't see it, because I mean, I actually only have 60 frames per second on this monitor, so when I'm lagging really bad, you shouldn't see it. But anyway, so after I jumped off, I had realized something. Um, what I realized basically was that you could power. Right at the end of the stream yesterday, I realized you could power this elevator. You could power this elevator in certain locations, and it would either cause it to stop perfectly, it would cause it to stop, and then this would be to start. The problem that I'm running into is that we're probably going to need a call button, which I was actually thinking, yeah, because of where the power is, we have to be careful where we power. But I'm thinking that we should have another button on this elevator. We should have a call button. I don't know if we should put it over here or maybe put it right here. I'm not too sure, but I am going to write it down because I actually got so confused with the circuitry yesterday that I ended up wiring up some stuff wrong. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this here. I'm going to put, let me see, call button. There we go. So leaving myself some notes. So this right here could be much smaller. It really doesn't need to be this big. But for testing purposes, we're going to go ahead and leave this. Because, I mean, if this is all that it takes, you know. So basically what we'll have is we'll have go up, go down, and then call the elevator to you. So if we have call the elevator to you, we basically can stick a couple of circuits over here going up and connecting to the top floor, and it will call the elevator from wherever it is. And then if we have the up and down, we can decide what's going on. So I'll show you the progress that we've made so far. So if you want to go to white floor, which is the only floor that's actually hooked up, you basically hit white floor. And what ends up happening is it should set the floor. Yeah, it should set this floor on the power position. The crazy thing is you can't really hear it. So basically, when we hit that, it's only wired that way. So now, if we hit the up button, it will go up and stop for us on that floor with relatively, I mean, I could see this being done, you know, with some furnaces, um, you know, repeaters that they're. I mean, the most expensive thing is this T flip flop, which I should probably look at smaller T flip flops. But I really after working on my version 5 elevator and seeing on Xbox how they got rid of block updates, um, you know, yeah. Anyway, so now if we hit up, it will continue up, and it's just going to go to its destination that we already wanted it to go to. Now, we need to... I don't even know why I have the blue hooked up. I think I actually only have it here so I could get an idea of the room. So now we need to hook up the down circuit. So when we hit this, we want it to activate stop on the way down, which is a whole nother circuit, and you can actually see that I got some really bad wiring. One of the biggest problems that we have here is technically I should have this circuit here. I should have this circuit here. So what we're probably going to end up doing is building a whole nother elevator today so that we could basically try, keep what we have and then try different setups. But for right now, I'm going to see if I can actually get to that. We also have to keep in mind that what I have down there, so we've changed this so it now gets input from this side, as you can see, and we did move it back a bit. Yeah, I put a block and I moved it just slightly away, but we're going to leave it there so we just know where it needs to be. Yeah, because we don't need this. This was just temporary. It's extravagant, but it does work. So now can we wire this up? Now I'm thinking, because this is a prototype, we should go ahead and just use a sticky piston. Now I don't want this getting powered. We want this to get powered from both sides. So I'm actually thinking I'm going to have to change this a little bit because, well, honestly, we need the down button to send it down because that's the one you're going to hit. But we also don't want it connecting with this. So if I was to basically put a repeater here, it shouldn't update nothing. So we could put a piston here, and then we could use a slime block to go down. Now we probably are going to have to replace this with a immovable object. But as long as we can get the power down here, or at least touch the piston, I mean, that might be the way to go. The biggest problem that we have right now is that there is no call function. Like, if you want to send this elevator, you have to be on the floor. You cannot ride it unless you're doing it. And you'll only be able to activate those floors right now from certain locations. So, let's go ahead and do this. So, I'm thinking we'll just use the slime block mechanic. I actually was going to say, for those of you that really enjoy Redstone, or if you'd like to get into Redstone, one of the easiest and best ways to do Redstone is to make people's tutorials. And I actually seen Mumbo's new video that he did. And I gotta say that he has built quite a lot of stuff. I'm going to actually probably check out what he's built. I'm going to probably check out what he's built here soon. Seriously, just because I seen he had a world download of a bunch of stuff he's designed over the last couple of years, which would gave me and my son a lot of ideas of what we would want to build on ours. So I thought that was very helpful and awesome. So this should work when we hit our down button. But the problem is, like right now, this isn't hooked to anything, and I need to disable it because actually, you know what? We do need this hooked up. Wow. Okay. So this is just going to send a signal down. Now, here's the biggest problem. We could make a chain, right? We could make a chain here where I basically put a block here, but we could not stick redstone. So, yeah. So we would have to do some kind of weird stuff, like maybe invert it. You know, like put it here. So, because you'd want to, I mean, if we had a second floor here, we have to chain this. So for temporary reasons, we're just going to use this, because normally I'm going to say we could use some wiring. So we have some options to make this easier. So what we could do is we could have, I mean, in America, the call buttons are always on the right side. Always. So we could get rid of this and hook everything up over here and kind of sharing the space. So we could literally just make this narrow, but it'll be wide. It doesn't have to be like this. I actually was in this purposely trying to make everything on one side, but this isn't how a real elevator works. In reality, a real elevator works by by you calling the floor, and there isn't an up and down. There's just a button that's a call button. So you just hit call. And then when you get into the elevator, there's a button. You know, you could choose your floors here. Now, obviously, we can't do that. We could use a picture frame, like a picture frame, and then you turn the knob to what floor. But I'm going to say that if we were to do that, it would just get grabbed by the sticky block. So, but it could be done in here. You know, like we could actually have a door. You know, we could actually have a door close, right? Have a door close here, and you would not be able to see anything, which would be sweet, I think, right? It'd be cool. It would look cool. Anyway, so let's go ahead and test this. So we're going to go ahead and hit the down button. It looks like it activated the proper circuit to make it stop on the way down. Now, the cool thing about the way down circuit, so we're going to go ahead and hit down. We know that the ride on this is really nice. And you can see that it's just going to stop perfect. Just boom, right? All it does is seizes this. So when we actually hit the down button, which I do believe we're going to need to add some delay to this, just so we can get into it. When we hit the down button, you guys can see that it's flawless. The down circuit, it's perfect. It is the simplest thing you could do. It just literally just needs this. The problem, though, is with my original elevator, we were able to get all of these same functions because it took me a year. I got all of those same functions. I almost said the wrong word there. But look, it still has two per... So this is the down circuit. The purple circuit's down. And then this is up, and instant extension, and instant retraction, all built into one. It's a lot of stuff. It also lowers the floor. I mean, there's so much stuff going on there with one circuit. I would like to do that with this, but it seems like we'd have to use some sort of... Because we can only detect the elevator not by power, we can only detect the elevator in one way, and that is to put a block sending a signal. So we can only put a block. Basically, we can use an observer block, and we can put it like right here, and we can get a signal from that letting us know how high up the elevator is, or we can get it to and we can use that signal. The problem is that it sends one monostable pulse on the up and down. So there's nothing like with a piston elevator. When the power's on, the whole elevator's on. When the power's off, so this one doesn't have that. So yeah, so my idea here is for us to basically have a call button, and then we can have the up and down button. So it would be more complicated, but I think in the long run it would be better. So if you're like waiting for the elevator and you come here and you're like, oh man, I don't even know where it is. I don't even want to look. You hit the call button, and it's going to activate, it's going to activate, every spot that the elevator could be. So basically, it would be this pink circuit. Yeah. It would be this spot and this spot only. And then also we would need it to activate this spot. So let's check this out, okay? So let's see if it actually functions. Right now we do not have the up function. So we know the elevator's below us, right? But we can't call it to us by hitting the up button. Now the problem with hitting the up button, because that's what you're going to want to do, you're going to want to hit up button, is that this is only supposed to be activated when it's on its way down. As you can see here, on the way down, or on the way up. So if you hit up, it'll activate that device, and then we could take the power from that and have it to call down. Let's actually we're just gonna hook on a temporary circuit. Now the problem with this, actually I don't think there is a problem with this. This is actually probably the best way we could do it, honestly. Let's give it a try. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we would want a redstone block. 10. And we're pretty far away. Like I said, we will build another one, and then we'll shrink this circuit down. Okay, so we actually would want it to be like this. I'm going to go ahead and say we should probably make it one up higher. Oops. That way it looks good. So, some people were basically talking to me, and they were like, will you ever do a upload world? And I did think about it, and I was like, you know, it is really hard. Oops. This is what we want right here. So, it stopped on the way up. So now we actually have a functioning call feature. So the biggest issue with this would be, hey, what's up there, Lonnie? Nice to see somebody come by, all the time. So we would only want this to be activated by the floor, but not by this. So I'm going to need to isolate this circuit here. Yeah, I'm going to need to do this, I think. I think we're going to need to do this. So this would actually isolate it for us here by putting this. So when we power this, it's going to send this through, it's going to stop this, and it's also going to call the elevator. So if you're just tuning in there, Lonnie, we have actually figured out a super simple way to stop this thing, stop the elevator, and also we are going to be building a whole nother one so that we can take what we've learned off of this and then look at it from a different perspective and then make this wiring. I don't really like how it is right now, because I mean, what we really need to do here is this is on the way down. So when this is active, when this is active, on the way up. That's why I put this sign here, because it's that confusing. So on the way up, this stops it. And then the one feature we don't have right now, the one feature we do not have is we do not have a go down from here function. So we would need a basically another thing powering it. So if you sent this up to the floor right now and then you wanted to go down, it's not going to do anything. Yeah, it's not going to do anything. Yeah. So that's another problem. So that basically means this. Okay, so since we're going to be, it looks to me like we could get away with, like if we're just going up, we can actually have the call feature hooked up to each floor. So I'm going to repeat this pattern here. So we got like this. So when you activate this floor from up here, we have Is it like that? No, no, we need this power here. So that powers that, which powers that. So you can activate the floor from the top. And then so we have something like this. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we're just going to use redstone. And we're going to have it go into this. And then we would need this to connect slime block circuit. So we're going to also probably get rid of this as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to want it to be here. So it comes down, activates the one below it, and then that would call the elevator. Now, it should call it from here too, so maybe isolating the circuit isn't the best way. So let's do this. Let's do this for now. We'll give it a test. But I do think that we could get rid of the call button. The thing is that we need these buttons to be over here. That way we can have these wires separate from the button. As you can see, having the buttons here, which is going to activate the main device, is going to make this really huge. In all reality, we actually could use immovable blocks and jam-pack the circuitry, you know, into this area here, like a 2x2 area. And we wouldn't have to have all this stuff. So, for instance, the down button is actually closer to this than the top button, which is what's actually hooked up to it. So in a sense, we actually need to have this circuit over here, and then we need to have the top circuit, the up circuit, you know, over, actually, yeah, the up circuit, we need to have that, you know, which is down there, you know, basically on this side. So it would be simpler. So, you know, one signal would be sending it, you know, almost directly to it, and one signal would be doing it from the other side. So if we had it wired here, it would just be much easier. So we'll build an entirely new elevator based off of this one, and then we'll use what we learned and try to place these in different locations. Like right now, this is the only way you can stop the elevator. But so let's go ahead and hit the up button, and you can see that it's gonna go up. And something happened to make it stop. Oh, that's why it hit this. Okay. So I am no longer using that concept. So we can basically, this is gonna be the new concept here, which is basically just like that. Okay, so let's get this going again. So it would actually have been yeah, that would not have stopped it if I hadn't have put that extra little circuit here. I thought that we could use it for the doorbell, so it goes ding ding like that. Yeah, it should work. Excuse me. Okay, so right now the down function should be working. So we hit this. It should activate. What's this doing here? It should activate the down circuit. And the down circuit is so simple. So you hit down. And it stops on the second floor. And then you hit down again, and it'll keep traveling. So right now we have no way to stop it and have it change directions. I actually don't see that to be possible, honestly. And the reason why is because to get the thing going on the way down, you would need this same area. So, yeah. I am looking at something right now, and I was thinking that we could probably, you know, we could technically have the up and down button on each side, which would isolate these circuits, making them easier. But I've seen Mumbo's design, and that's what his is. So like I said, I want to put everything over here. So let's try the call button. So basically, in order to call it up to you, we know it's below us, you hit the up button. And then we would probably, you could just jump on it if you wanted to. There you go. So the up button makes it come up to you and it stops. Then we hit up again. So that definitely works if you're just going up, but right now we don't have a way to go down. So, going down, we don't have a method to call it right now to us. It would be a simple torch tower, but so you hit down and it calls it up to you. Calls it from the upper position down to you. We could definitely hook it up. I mean, something like this. I'm going to use a color we haven't used yet. Doesn't look like I've used yellow. Yeah. So we'll make this yellow circuit call. And once we get all the wiring hooked up, we will then know. So we only need this to connect to the pink circuit here. So we just need to find out where the torch lands on this. None of this is going to get grabbed from the elevator, right? No, it's far away. Okay, no cross connections. Okay, this actually works out for us. So we could basically just go like this. And it'll just connect right in. Now I'm thinking we might want to do an amber gate. That way, well actually it won't matter if it back powers. So the power is going to come across here and activate the device. So we would need to reset this. So is it active right now is the question, and it is active. I should probably use some redstone lamps to let me know it's active, but what we're going to do is we're just going to disconnect it. And then, so, because we would have never activated it, right? Because I already hit it and went, you know, this is what we're going to need to do. Why do I have two buttons here? So, I have one connecting to the down circuit and one connecting to the up circuit. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so we hit the down button. It sends a signal. Why did I make two of them? Oh, this is part of the recall. Oh, this is part of the call system. So we actually would need these two towers here regardless. It's okay. We'll streamline this and try and get the same block to do the same thing. We just need to have smart wiring. Okay, so right now we should be able to hit the down button, and it should also activate the floor. So I think. So let me see. So, oh wait a minute. What we wanted to try was, would it actually call? Would it call? So we would need this to come down here as well. We won't need it to go very far, but we want to make sure that it doesn't change. So this is off, this is going to be on. It is going to change our power. So let's go ahead and disconnect this. So we're going to need to do a we're going to need to flip these torches around like this. So it keeps it the same as we had it. We do not want that area powered, and then this one we could just either add a torch or not. So there we go. So now we just need to hook this up. So basically we want to, when you want to call it down to us, so all we need to do basically is just send. Now here's one of the things. when this activates, it's gonna basically do a loop. It's just gonna keep activating the top, and so we need to isolate this circuit. So when you hit this, we do want it to activate it, which is completely normal. You send it up, and it'll call the elevator down to you. But we don't want it to chain. So this is going to come up here. It's not connected, so it's not going to chain. It's only going to activate this line, and then we need to hook it. We need to hook it to what actually makes this elevator go down to you, which we actually don't have that function. It is actually this floor. The problem is, I think that we actually need it to basically know when it's been activated. So yeah, so we would need a circuit, and I have plenty of circuits like this where you could literally what we need is a piston to disconnect the yellow circuit. Excuse me. When we want it to. The biggest problem that I'm seeing is that when you activate this, it is going to send a line of power into here. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to have this come from a different direction and not connect right now to that area. Right? And then this area here needs to be the yellow circuit. So it would activate the elevator. Actually, I don't think that's what we want here. Let me see. We just want to be able to call the elevator to us from any floor. So yeah, we would want it hooked up here, and it definitely needs to be isolated. So that's correct. When we hit this one, it should call us. When we hit the up button, it should call it down to us. So we have that correct. We just need to hook up this. So when you hit down, it should call the elevator down to us. So we would probably want to have, well, right now that if you hit up or down, it's going to activate this line. So we should probably, oops. That was what did I just hit? Oh. There we go. I'm going to basically reconnect that. We don't want to screw that over. So, we need to get rid of this. Okay, we need power to go down here. I'm actually going to say we actually need power to go down here like so. So repeater powers this. We aren't going to need that. We get redstone powered there. We'll go ahead and do an inverted torch system here. Let's see. Actually, should I do a lower inverted torch? Yeah, because it's going to be off. So if we isolate that, I put redstone here, and we put a torch here. Yeah, that should actually activate it. So when you hit down, it's going to basically call this elevator to you. And I mean, just to keep it isolated, we're going to take the pink circuit, which we should probably use pink, which is going to have some redstone here. So when you push the piston, it's going to activate this, and then we want it to just some simple wiring, nothing fancy. So this way it will send, when we hit up, it'll go up, and when we hit down, it'll go down. So when we hit up, we want this to basically activate the thing that's going to make the elevator come down to us. But when it's on this floor, we need to have a device that knows when it's there and when it's not there, so when it's present. So we should be able to use this device on the side here for that. So if we're just going, say it's up there and we want to call it to us, it should actually work. So if we hit the down button, it should start coming down to us. All right. So if we're up here though, right now there is no call it up to you button. So right now it's just the down button. So yeah, so we would actually want, because if it's here, we can call the same area twice. So what I'm actually thinking is we could do this. And so let's see, with this clock, it's going to come up and it's going to power this, and then this is going to activate everything. Those are separated down there, so it shouldn't clock. So let's see. So we go, okay, I want to call this up to me. None of these are hooked up because it's the top floor, so it won't matter. So we can basically just hit up, right? We call it up. Comes up to this top floor, and it stopped. Now, it not only did it stop, but it stopped on the wrong floor because this got jammed into position here, got butted. So are we powering ourselves here? We are actually. Okay, so that would explain a lot. So yeah, what we're doing here is we end up powering ourselves, and then this ended up activating the floor that we didn't want to be activated. So we're gonna have to do a reset on this. So we need to deactivate this. We're gonna go ahead and just send it down. Alright, maybe we're sending it up. This thing's hella stalled. Alright, I think we're gonna have to actually rebuild this. Oh, this one's on too. Wow, okay. So what we got hooked up right here right now is activating both at the same time. So we can't have that. We cannot have... So when it comes to calling, we cannot use this line. We can only use it to call the floor below. We're going to have to use a different line. We can't use the same line and do a chain. So when you hit this button, basically, it's actually going to call it up to you, because that's how confusing this is. I'm going to disconnect it, but we're going to leave it here because I did this before, and I ended up screwing up stuff. We do need this one, though. Actually, no, we don't want it to call to us. We don't want it to call to us. We actually would want to get the power from this line. So we need to actually make it a whole separate line. So we have our up line that will activate the floor, at least on the top and bottom, and it'll call it to us, but not from the middle, which makes sense. But we also need a line, so calling it down to us. When we want to call it, when we hit the down button, we want to go down. We don't actually need that hooked up. We only need the up button hooked up. We want to call it up to us. So the biggest mistake that we have right here is that I have the up button hooked. So it'll not only will it call the elevator if it's down there when you hit up, but it'll also activate this floor. And so right now, we have a problem where we need to have two separate circuits. So we cannot have... We definitely want this to activate the floor, but we don't want it. We don't want it to activate. Yeah. So when you hit the button, we want this to come down and activate this floor, right from there. And then if we want Okay, so I think I have this wrong, but let's check it out. Okay, so right now there is no call down feature. You know, if we hit down, it'll call down to us. This should actually, what's that? Let me see. Yeah, this thing's getting confusing. So, this is where we need to have an isolated circuit. We just want this to come down and touch down there, which we can do. We just need to move it over here. So, yeah, this got so confusing yesterday that I actually had hooked up everything cross-wired. So we're gonna have to use some lines so that I can remember, kind of like a notepad, so we know what's what. Okay, so we're gonna have to run through this. So when I hit the up button, it is going to hit this the up button, and it should call up to us. And that's why we had it hooked up here, right? But what we're gonna do now is separate these. Wait a minute. We cannot have that there. It has to be here, or it'll block update. So basically, if you hit this floor, it's gonna send a pulse down activating the floor, which we don't want. Okay. Okay, let's run through this again from the bottom, because this has gotten me too confusing. So we have this to where if we hit the floor, it's going to stop on the white floor and activate it. So it stops there. And then if we hit the up button again, it's going to basically power this and then reignite the flying engine and turn this off. And also going to call down, which this doesn't matter if it gets triggered, so that's completely okay. So we hit the up button and it keeps traveling up to the top floor. Okay, so we hit this and it actually called it and stopped at the same. Yeah, we don't want the button doing that. It should not be hooked up. How exactly did it call that? When we hit down, this should actually be, wait a minute. Okay. When we hit down and this, it's gonna basically, I have it set to call and activate the floor below. So this can't work. We can't have that like that. We only want this to call the elevator to us. And because this isn't an isolated circuit, we only want it to basically activate this thing. We do not want it to send it at the same time to us. So when we hit down, yeah, right now this is only being activated, which is going to, when we activate this device, it's basically activating this floor, and that's all we want, is to activate it on the way down, and that's it. So that's correct. So we don't need it to be hooked up to this. So this is done. The wiring right here is done. Alright? What we do need to hook up to this, is we want it to call the elevator from the bottom. So this is what I'm actually thinking. I'm thinking we're going to have two different lines. So we're going to have a floor call system for sure. Because there's no way right now how it's hooked up that we're going to get this to work. But since we don't have that thing there, we can actually kind of slim this down a bit. Because this is only going to activate this piston. Which, yeah. something like that with a repeater on delay, just for the hell of it. So we hit up, it activates the floor, it goes down. If it's up there and we hit the up button from here, it's going to send it, deactivating the floor that it's on. Yeah, this is where it gets real confusing. Is that all we have it set right now is to basically stop at the white floor and then keep going up, and there's no ability to go back down, and then stop it on the way down, and then you have to complete the journey. So it's kind of like, you know, it's a round trip. It's like a train stop. You cannot stop. So we need to fix that. Okay, so the elevator's here. So it was traveling down, so I think we should be able to hit down again. And it should just go straight down. Okay. So these other lines are probably not things we want hooked up. I mean, so if we hit down, it's going to activate the floor. When we hit the down button, it's going to activate the floor below us, which we don't want to hook this up yet. Yeah, we don't want this being active. What we want is we want this to have its own, we want our own call system that's separate. We want our own call system that's separate from this. So what we're going to have to do, I think we're going to have to move this over. Not intentionally, mind you, but it has to go through there like so. And then this is now an isolated circuit. So if it's on the very bottom floor and we hit up to us, it's going to activate this line, and you know, we could actually use the same line. So this is going to get activated when you hit up or down. And so we could basically just, oh, wait a minute. No, we can't. We don't want that. We want a separate circuit. So we'll go ahead. We just want it to be activated from the button and not from anything else. So I'm going to actually leave this with the option for that. So yeah. So if we're on the top floor and we want to call it to us, we hit up, which will activate up. And then we're going to want also, basically what we're going to want is we're going to want this to also activate the floor and then deactivate this floor. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but the reason for that would be to call it up to us if it's there. So that's going to be the most complicated thing about this design. Okay, so we have a functioning multiple floor elevator right now. So if we hit down, wait a minute, that calls it to us. So we also would like to stop on the floor, but not every time. Yeah. So we actually do need this. I had this hooked up correctly. It's okay. It's okay. It's nothing. I mean, it's not like we can't just run another one. So when we hit this button, and only when we hit this button, we want to stop there. We want... So this is going to come down, and it's going to activate the top floor for us. I think that's what we want. No, we want to activate... Hold on. I am confusing myself here. Okay. Let me see here. Alright, so we hit this. This is basically on the way up. So we don't want to activate this line, which right now we have it set to activate this line. This, since we're on the white floor, you do not want the white floor hooking up to this. Yeah, you do not want it hooking up to this. All we want this to do is to activate. So this, it shouldn't be hooked up to nothing, which it's not. It was hooked up to the down circuit. So this is only here. It should only be here to, because this is basically on the way down. So we only want this activated on the way down. I think, yeah, this is on the way down circuit. Okay, on the way down, on the way up. Makes sense. I could probably just do like some arrows using some stuff. Like I could use a comparator or an observer. Like I could do this. So that one on the way up, and then this one could be like that, letting us know just in case. Wait a minute, that's the same direction. On the way down. There we go. Up and down. Okay. There we go. Alright, so yeah, using these different because I usually use whole humongous circuits with unlimited space. This one being relatively small, I want it to keep it that way. So right now, when we hit the down button, it's going to basically just activate this. But if we want it to stop on the floor, this white circuit's going to come down here. It's going to hit this redstone, which is then going to go into nowhere, apparently. But what we want it to do is to activate this on the way down. So that will sever the connection, and this will activate nothing. So this might actually be, let's see, if we put this here, power would travel through here. Okay, I think I see what I had here. Okay, so from the top floor, we would also want to stop it on the way up, as you can see. And this is on the way down. So I have the on the way down hooked up to the on the way up. So that's our problem one. So when we hit this floor, we want it to activate this circuit on the way up, right? Yeah. Let's check it. So if we sent a signal through that white circuit, and we activate this, right now the elevator is on the up position. So yeah, so this is only supposed to be active. Yeah. So we need this white circuit to activate this piston, basically. Now that is going to get grabbed, so we're going to need an immovable object. So yeah, so this is on the way up. We want to stop, right? So when it goes up. So when we hit, well, we're on the white floor, so we don't want the white floor activating anything. So that's correct. It's not going to activate nothing. But when we hit it here, we want the elevator to stop here. So what I had it before was I had it so it would catch it on the way down. when you don't need it that way, because we shouldn't have the ability to. We should be able to do is just stop on this floor. So when I hit this, it should activate on the way down. Okay, so this is going to come down here and activate there, which wouldn't be good. We could kind of come off here with a repeater. And send a protected line there. It'll have to be changed. So, so we also want this to, when we hit this floor, we also want to stop. So right now we have it hooked up correctly. This is going to activate this circuit. So it's going to basically stop us on the way, actually it would be on the way up, right? Right now we have it on the way up, yeah. So, all right, let's go ahead and test it. So if we're up here, we hit that. It also activated the floor, which we actually didn't want to have happen. When we hit that single button, why did it activate the floor as well? Yeah, we only have it hooked up to here, and then this activates that. But why did it call it at the same time when we hit this? It's not hooked up to anything. And this is only hooked up to this. It sent a signal here. Okay. So what we need is, when this gets powered, it's sending a signal to this. So we need to isolate this circuit so that it only activates this device. Which the easiest way to do that would be so this will do its job, and then we want our redstone to only activate. So this is going to come in, it's only going to activate that. So, but it will not activate this line sending a signal up. Confusing the shit out of myself here. Okay. So that's why it called it, is because actually it shouldn't have called it. This isn't even hooked up to anything, which is the call function. I don't know why the floor came up to us. We're going to check that, actually. Let's go ahead and just send it up, or down. Send it back down. So I hit this circuit, and the white circuit activates this floor, and only the floor. It doesn't activate this circuit, which in all reality it should be fine, but because we have a repeater here, it's going to send a signal down as well. So we need to isolate we need to isolate this circuit. So when this gets powered, it doesn't matter if it powers this, but it does matter if it powers this thing, because we only want it to call it down to us. So that's our problem, that these two circuits, we had them cross-connected. So that should fix that what we had going on. Okay. So, alright, so we hit, and that activates on the way up circuit. Yes, up. Right. We go and we hit the up button. We make a stop. We hit the up button again, and it's only going to activate the up circuit, which restarts the engine. Okay. Now we want to go down, so we hit the down button, and it automatically activated this floor, and we stopped on it. We don't want that. So when we activated this, it came through here and then activated this line, which isn't really hooked to anything. So it doesn't matter if this is cross-connected. Comes down here, powers that, which then powers that. So it only activates the floor. So why did it call it at the same time? Am I getting a signal from somewhere else? Yeah. Okay, this is going through here, which is then going back here, and that is only powered from the down. So that's only going to power the down circuit. When you hit down, when you hit down, it powers this, and when you hit up, it powers this. So they're isolated. So when we hit up, it should call it up to us. That's correct. So is there a repeater here? Oh, you know what? That's what we need to do. Okay. So when we activate this, it will not power this, so it will send it up to us. We actually wanted it to do that. We wanted to send it up to us, or we want to call it down to us, but not with the up button, only with the down button. So that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we should have it fixed now. So let's try it out. So we hit stop on floor white. We hit up. Stops on floor white. We decide we want to keep going. Stop on floor blue. And now we want to stop on floor white on the way down. We hit the way down. Why did it activate that? Look at this. It's not hooked up to this. So this is powering through here, and it sends a oh god, okay. That's why I isolated the circuit, because we don't want power going this way. So, but we do want to send a we do want to be able to call it to us here. We want to hit down if the elevator's down and call it to us. So that's the problem. This needs to basically connect only to this. So we're going to go ahead and just reroute it completely. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. A block, and then 16. You know what? Let's go ahead and just put it here. Just looks better. Okay. So now these are completely isolated. One of the biggest confusing things is that we're using white circuit for everything. And that's our biggest problem, is we have too much white circuit. I need to isolate these. So now that we have this functioning, so the question is now, if I hit the up button, we want it to activate the floor, and call it to us. But if we do that, if we hook that up, it is going to cause problems because it would need its own system for that. So we'd have to have, like 3 separate lines going to this. So for right now, I think what we have is okay. We want it to basically, we want to hit this and stop on the white floor. Right? We want to stop on the white floor. Right? I'd like to be able to go down, but there isn't a down circuit. I mean, we could make one, right? We could make one. Like when you hit this, it should just go down. Like it would be nice. It wouldn't be that difficult, I think, to send something here. I do believe it would have to be a double piston extender to make it go down. But you would have to do this, like you'd have to hit the down button and it would have to deactivate this, right? Deactivate it, and then a piston would have to go here. The problem is if somebody hits down when this thing's in a different location, the biggest problem we run into is like you could technically put it here to touch it with like a double piston extender. You could have it come in and you could send it down, except for because this is active, it's not going to allow it to do that. So that would be quite a shitty circuit to make, I'll just say. So we're just going to keep going up. So basically all we have is an elevator that can skip floor 2 or stop on it. But there's no other options. And you have to continue the trip down. You cannot stop and go, I want to go back up. So, which brings me to us building our next design. Just going to check something real quick. Okay, I've been streaming for an hour. I've been thinking that my streams are a little long, and they've been really long. So I'm actually going to go ahead and say we should probably build version 2 of this type of elevator. I'm going to need to do version 2. I think I'm going to stop this stream, take a break for a little bit, and then I will do another stream so that people can see what we've done. So during the break, I'm going to basically just build this elevator with nothing on it, so that when we come back, we can build a better version of it. I'd like to do it now, but I don't think nobody's really watching 3-hour-long videos of me. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here, and say, thanks for joining me for an hour. I would like to, honestly, I've been thinking about recording these and then cutting out and only putting in the best features. Except for, I think that, if you guys see the amount of thinking and amount of problem solving that you have to do with this kind of stuff, it should show you just how hard it is to do redstone. I mean, it's different when you put your mind to it and you find new and cool ways to do it. That's awesome. But when you're just trying to figure something out to get it to do what you want during that process, it's actually pretty hard. And it can take, like, I wasn't good enough at redstone when I designed my first redstone elevator. And so it had a lot of unnecessary things that I really didn't know how to fix. But as over the years, they have gotten so much better. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to hit that like video if you like it, and of course, if you could spread the word and let other people know to subscribe, we'll keep doing this. All right, thanks for watching.